those who are just in the forefront of it. So let me welcome our panel today. We have with us Dr. Sudhanshu Bankata, Executive Director, Batra Hospital and Medical Research Center. He's joining us from India's capital, Delhi. Welcome, Dr. Sudhanshu. Is this the
Thank you.
worst health crisis that you've seen in your entire career?
Yeah, yeah, never seen, never heard. I'd never imagined the likes of this. This is absolutely the worst crisis ever.
The worst crisis ever. Puneet Singh, who's a trustee of Khalsa Aid, is also with us. His organization has been providing free oxygen to people in a camp in Delhi. Puneet, thank you for joining us. What kind of firefighting is your organization doing on the streets of Delhi at the moment?
Thank you, Devina. It's been one of a kind, and we have never ever seen such kind of situation in Delhi specifically. People are crying, they are just begging, please provide us oxygen. Our mother, our father, our near one, our dear ones are just dying for the oxygen. Please provide us. And we are just making all our efforts to, that is how the plan came, because the oxygen cylinders was not available. So we tried for procuring the oxygen concentrators, and we started this project.
Hmm. Well, Puneet, what you are seeing, many others are also trying to pitch in at this time of crisis, and every
Right.
bit counts. Gautam Raj Anand, who's with Mission Oxygen India, he's joining us as well. Over 250 startup founders have come together for crowdfunding and distributing oxygen concentrators as well. Gautam, your organization is also working everywhere in India, trying to organize support. Where are you seeing maximum demand coming from?
Um, Devina, we're actually getting demand from everywhere across the country. Today, we're sitting at requirements and asks for north of 15,000 oxygen concentrators from every different district and corner of the nation. So suffice to say, everybody is scrambling to get their hands on these machines. Whilst of course Delhi is most hit in this time, I believe that that's only a time sensitive issue. Delhi is the one that's currently at the eye of the storm, but tomorrow there will be another state and another city, and we have to factor all of them in our fight against COVID.
And let's not forget, this is India's capital, which is seeing over 20,000 cases almost daily. But while Dr. Sudhanshu, Puneet, and Gautam, their organization, are trying their best to chip in, the point is, why do we need support of civil activists? Because when I hear stories from Abhishek and I see the reality unfolding around me in this city, it's heartbreaking. But why is it that hospitals are not stocked up with this life saving oxygen?
The problem with our country and the healthcare system has forever been that absolutely no hospital has had its own oxygen generation plants. The oxygen was forever supplied to the bigger hospitals like ours through the suppliers that we were getting it. Now, in this time of crisis, when the demand has surged to such an extent, the suppliers, they did not have supply, enough manufacturing capacity to give it to us. So eventually the cycle, when it plays out, one hospital or the other does not receive its supply on time, and that is when the misfortune strikes.
Your own hospital has seen this, that you're running low on oxygen supply. You ask the government officials for extra supply. What happens then? Why is it that we still see loss of lives?
Well, honestly, and I'll be very honest about that, the Delhi government officials have been very, very helpful. But on this unfortunate day, last Saturday, what happened was when I called up these officials, even they were almost breaking down because they did not have any supply to give to any hospital. So for 1 hour, 20 minutes, we were without oxygen, and it takes another 20 minutes for the pressure in the tank, oxygen tank in the hospital to build up to start functioning again. So almost like 1 hour, 40 minutes that these poor patients were without oxygen. We tried to manually ambu them, mechanically ventilate them. We tried everything. You can't pump at the level of 50 to 60 liter
Yes.
per minute, kind of a level. So those patients, unfortunately, we lost them, including our senior cardiologist, our senior gastroenterologist. This tragedy that occurred at our place, It has still it echoes every day and every night in our
Mm, mm,
nightmares.
mm.
Even last night, my entire night I was receiving oxygen from tankers and saying that all right,
Mm,
now I have enough supply. It's what
mm.
it's a nightmare. That's never-ending nightmare. Though for the
Absolutely.
past 2 days
It's a
now, it's
nightmare.
slightly settled down.
Absolutely. It's a nightmare that a lot of hospitals are facing at the moment. You've said for the past 48 hours there's been some relief. I've been speaking to private hospitals who've told me that right now perhaps they've got a cushion from 2 hours to 24 hours. But it's not that they have a backup stock. It's not they have an uninterrupted supply of oxygen at the moment. Puneet, how are you able to procure these oxygen concentrators, which are running in such a short supply even for hospitals?
We were very fortunate. There was a company who has been the admirer of the work of the Khalsa. He promises to provide the 60 oxygen concentrator initially, and from there, then we got a lot of 200 concentrators. The UK team has supplied us the oxygen concentrator, which is supplied by our international chapters like the US, Australia, Canada. It is not easily available in the market. People are calling us. They want to purchase the oxygen concentrators, which we cannot. We are not selling the oxygen
Okay.
concentrator. We are providing them for free of cost, and it is we
Hmm.
provide them initially for the 7 days, and then just we ask them if they want to extend the period. Just inform us in
Okay.
advance, and there are people who
Okay.
are
Okay.
not in a position to return back as well.
And so you see a lot of global help coming. You see people from different parts of the world coming together in this time of crisis for Indians, and that's really heartening to see. But the question here is right now, Gautam, that why is it that the problem still persists? Because if Delhi needs oxygen and all efforts are being diverted, even by the government, by different countries which are sending aid, why do we still have a
Mhm.
shortage? Where is the gap?
What we've actually seen is that there's pandemonium not just on ground in Delhi but everywhere. So once we saw requirements and demand for oxygen concentrators increase, everybody and their aunt has actually been trying to source oxygen concentrators from manufacturers abroad. Then a potential block on different folks of who gets their chance on the line of customs to come out first.
Mm, mm,
And
mm.
generally, there is a I mean, there isn't a free flowing just chain of supply at any point of this structure, nor at the manufacturing level and sourcing, nor at sort of figuring out how transportation and logistics is going to happen into India, not at customs when the goods arrive into India, not at
Mm.
warehousing, not at domestic logistics. So nothing is necessarily as ideal as it should be, which is what's at a culminated level leading to the current
Mm.
situation that we're seeing before us.
So at every point, there's a delay. And even for
Yeah.
families that are reaching out to their relatives staying abroad, even if they're able to send in oxygen concentrators, we've seen reports of how some of them are stuck with the customs. They're not able to get to the family
Exactly.
on time. And this is about saving precious lives. A court in Allahabad, which is in western Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, has actually said deaths due to lack of oxygen is no less than a genocide. Dr. Sudhanshu, we spoke about how in your own hospital, 12 lives were lost because your hospital didn't have enough oxygen. And when you see this kind of a scenario, such kind of a ticking time bomb, such kind of an oxygen crisis, what impact does it have on you as a doctor and also an administrator who's running the hospital?
Only an administrator in my current role. The
Hmm.
frontline workers, the frontline doctors, and the frontline nurses, they deserve far more credit. Given the resources,
Hmm.
given the restrictions, given the restriction in allocation, the way they have been working miracles with the patient, it's admirable. We are only supporters in that endeavor. We are trying to smoothen out the process, but we find our hands tied and we bow our head in shame when we are not able to arrange oxygen on time. And it's not because we have failed, it's because the government has failed us.
But how do you explain that to families who are losing their loved ones? Because they see you as gods right now who can save their loved ones. How do you explain this to their family members who have lost their loved ones, saying that it's not our failure, but it's the government's failure?
It's not exactly an explanation, it is commiseration, co-misery. We
Hmm.
commiserate with the patients and their family. because we have failed collectively. Uh, we have little time left for emotions actually. We are just working at purely mechanical level because with numbing comes some sort of efficiency in our system. If we become emotional at the moment, then there would be nobody left to treat. There would be nobody left to run the system at all.
Right. And we salute that spirit, Dr. Sudhanshu, because I know these are tough times, these are tough questions to answer. Puneet, you wanted to come in with so much of human suffering around us at the moment. How do you deal with it? What's the impact it's having on you when you see that you're not able to save lives despite your best efforts?
It's really very disheartening, and it's really affecting our mental health. When we see hats off to the volunteers who are working day and night, they are every time on ground. They are risking their life. They are risking the life of their families. They are just for the people at on ground, and it's affecting their mental health a lot. And we need. I don't think, matlab, after this they need a very good break. They need some mental. They need some counselors, regular counseling there. It is required for them because it is affecting the lot of mental health.
Absolutely. Yes, Gautam, you want to come in?
The only way to react right now is by keeping yourself extremely occupied. All of us were just sick and tired of being helpless and sending messages pleading for some sort of support either with plasma or with oxygen, and I'm very inspired by the group of folks that have come together. The other thing that I think we do is we all meet every night at 10 o'clock and we speak together, and that sense of community, going through this together, trying to fight this invisible enemy together. I think that gets us through, and we all look really forward to that one call, to be honest.
So it's the sense of community which is keeping these efforts together, and the fact that we are in this together. But Puneet, do you see for some people this is also a time for business? Because black marketing has been rampant of oxygen cylinders. I personally know two people who had to go through touts to get an oxygen cylinder at 20 times the market price.
Very true. Every day the stories are coming when we see that cylinders are being sold out at 10 times, and the concentrators are being sold at 5 times, 6 times. So there are things which are happening around us. We need to just focus on the good work which is going on, and the government needs to work on that as well. That thing should not be happening.
But Dr. Sudhanshu, it's hospitals like yours also who tell patients to get their own oxygen cylinder. What do?
We don't say it like that. We don't say it like that. We don't say go and arrange your own oxygen cylinders. We tell them very transparently that in case of oxygen failure, your patient may require oxygen support, and we have only as many oxygen cylinders, so you might as well keep one in backup. That's all that we tell. We don't say that go and buy your own oxygen cylinders. We don't do that. There's a big
But where
difference
do they
between
get the backup from, Dr. Sudhanshu? Where do they get that backup from, Dr. Sudhanshu? If they have to arrange for, if you ask somebody who sees their loved one on a sick bed,
I'm
they try
interjecting.
anything possible to save them.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. What has happened is that every family almost has also hoarded cylinders. Even people who are well, they have kept cylinders at home. We're just asking them
Puneet,
to keep it with the patient who's sicker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Puneet,
is a
are you seeing
problem.
this? That families are hoarding whatever little resources are available in anticipation of their own loved ones being impacted?
Because we need to understand that there is an environment of fear. People are in real fear that they are going to lose their near ones, their dear ones. Now, in fear of that, what I am doing, what I am just holding that oxygen cylinder to deal with that particular situation, which is actually very wrong. But he is in actual fear. So, if he gets a confidence from the system that we will be providing you enough, we have the enough the support system. We will be providing you the oxygen concentrator or the oxygen cylinder whenever it will be required. They won't be hoarding, because it is not easy for an individual to keep the oxygen cylinder at their home. It is not safe. It is very risky actually, because it is not easy for an individual to operate. They are not having that medical background. They don't have that particular knowledge that how we are going to use it and how we are going to operate it.
Absolutely. So,
Absolutely.
Gautam, coming to you then, what's the solution? What kind of holistic solution can be moved towards? Because if we listen to experts, health experts have said that this crisis is only going to peak in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So, the emergency situation will continue. From your groundwork, what are the key lessons that you have learned which can help in abating at least the oxygen crisis in major cities at the moment?
Got it, got it. So we've actually thought about this and spoken about this a lot, and I'm just a small part of Mission Oxygen. I mean, the sheer amount of intelligence in this group is astounding. Number one is we need to have an infrastructural change where we actually start supporting tier two and tier three cities with oxygen generation plants, which actually come in various different sizes. The second thing that we're trying to do is we're trying to bring in BiPAP and CPAP machines into the country, which currently we understand from hospitals and the likes are actually quite in short supply. So then the third thing that we're trying to get is where this entire story starts from. So Divina, this entire story starts from when people actually check their oxygen vitals using an oximeter. Unfortunately, most oximeters in the country aren't medical grade and they aren't calibrated properly. So what happens as a problem, as a consequence of this, is that people may check their vital level and it may come across as
Right.
something that's lower than it may be. They may panic, and that panic results in them running towards hospitals or running towards medical facilities, which causes further pressure on the infrastructure. And that further pressure on the infrastructure takes up more beds, takes up more cylinders, and that's where our entire story
Absolutely.
starts. So if we can actually get medical grade, a large amount of hundreds and thousands of medical grade oximeters into the country, which give people confidence of their readings, it will actually potentially save a lot of pressure that the system is currently facing. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
So, but Puneet, what about all the other stakeholders? Because this is as much as civil activists like you are trying to do. What about the potential stakeholders, the policymakers? We've seen announcements of special oxygen train, oxygen flights, oxygen audits. Some people in the government have even gone ahead and said there is no oxygen shortage, it's just the transport problem. Where can we see some solutions from policymakers as well? What are your suggestions?
Actually, they were busy in the election rallies and they were election campaigns. They were busy in that. Human lives just look like we are just like a number. If one is reduced, nothing is going to affect the population. It's more like that. In such kind of situation, the society and the government, they are supposed to work together. If they have a good data that which are the organizations which are working, they have to strengthen their inner system, and they are supposed to do the good collaboration with the organizations which are working on ground, because there are so many organizations who are working day and night. They are working for the society, and it is going to help the entire system.
So centralized coordination could help. Dr. Sudhanshu, the last word to you. Till when can hospitals in the city sustain with this kind of pressure? Do you see the situation normalizing anytime soon?
It doesn't. It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it because the numbers haven't gone down. Actually, the number of tests have reduced. The wave is still building up. We don't know when the peak is going to be. I'll be more than glad when I see the numbers reducing. But right now, it's not going down. I'm not seeing an end to it. Where are the policymakers? I ask. Where are they today? How have they led? How have they left us all struggling all by ourselves, begging for arms, begging for oxygen, begging for medicines? Where are they now? Why is it only that we see black marketers around, hoarders around, vultures around? Where are the real vultures? I hope that the virus eventually burns out before we have many bodies to burn.
Well, on that thought and that wish, thank you everyone for joining us. It's been a difficult conversation, and I really appreciate all of you taking your time out from this busy period of dealing with the pandemic and talking to us. Thank you.